Okay, here's how you're gonna avoid bulkiness when you're working out and training to become stronger and more fit. I'm gonna take you on a journey, tell you kind of my 10-year long fitness journey, even though my journey is longer than that. It's 18 years ago. Welcome back to LiveLeanTV. I'm Jessica Guthrow. I've made a few other videos on this topic, but it's still such a common fear among women and something that is still very confusing for a lot of people. So I thought maybe it'd be helpful if I took you on a 10-year long journey of my own fitness journey. I feel like I'm chunking it down to 10 years just to make it concise, and I have more pictures from that time period. My fitness journey is actually more like 18 years long. I can't believe that. That's crazy. But yeah, I started weightlifting when I was just 18 years old, and now I'm 35. So it's been a very long journey. I've learned so much along the way. I've been through so many of my own personal highs and lows along this journey, and so I wanted to share with you in photographs and stories what the journey has been like and what things I have learned that have helped me avoid the bulk. Before I get into my personal stories, I'll just tell you right off the bat that the #1 secret to getting lean instead of bulky is learning how to eat right. And it's really not a specific diet or type of diet, but it's learning how to eat in a way that supports your vision. The biggest mistake that I made for myself at the lows in my fitness journey where I felt like I was bulking up, it had to do with food. It was basically me eating my feelings and eating more than I needed to, and like the wrong types of food. So it basically just comes down to that, but I'll tell you more details as we get along with the story. I will try to share as many pictures as I can find. It's hard because this all goes back to a time when taking a ton of pictures of your life all the time was not really a thing, and I do not have pictures from the beginning of my fitness journey because this was 18 years ago and I don't know what camera I was using, and those pictures, even if I did have pictures, they're long gone now. So I have the most pictures from the last decade, from 2010 to now. So I thought, let me just tell you the 10-year story. Although it might be interesting for you to know that when I was 18 and I started my weightlifting journey, I was slim to begin with, and I decided to become a personal trainer because I wanted to help other people get more fit and get stronger. I had a little taste of that myself, and I was like, oh, it's so empowering to get strong. And I like the feeling of being in shape cardiovascularly and strength-wise. I was in shape from playing high school sports, and I had a pretty active lifestyle. So I wanted to help other people do the same. Weight loss was not my motivator to start lifting weights. It was more so to get stronger and leaner, because although I was slim, I definitely had trouble zones and cellulite, those kind of issues. Even though I loved the feeling of empowerment that I got from getting stronger, there wasn't really enough motivation or enough of a personal why for me to really push myself to new heights. I would just stay fit enough, but I didn't really challenge myself in a way to increase my fitness level or change my body composition, because I kind of would just do the bare minimum. And I was getting bored really easily. I would try to stick to a weekly schedule of 3 to 5 workouts per week, but it was just leg day, back days, random, and it had no goals or no purpose. So that's when I started getting interested in fitness competition, and around age 22, I did my first fitness show. And I really thought that I needed that kind of deadline on the calendar and that extra motivation of knowing that I was going to be seen in a bikini on a stage to really, motivate myself to work out on days when I didn't feel like it. Doing fitness competitions was a strong why for me. It was enough to kick my butt and push myself harder and learn new things and challenge myself and stick to a workout program schedule. I had a 6-month workout program that I designed for myself. I worked really hard that year. I gave it my all. I got in incredible shape, and I was on a high at that point. The negative part of that is after the show is over, my why was gone. And I was left with no motivation, no reason to get up and work out, no reason to prepare my meals or eat healthy. And I felt like I had been depriving myself of so many things for so long that I kind of just went crazy. There were so many foods that I had put off limits for myself, like bagels, pizza, ice cream, cookies, and then I just went and ate all of that all at once. It was always really hard for me to come back from that. You've been on such a high and you felt so great, and then you reach such a low and you feel so awful. It took me a lot of willpower, and I had to compete in more shows just to keep reaching that same high. So I did a total of 9 shows Yeah, it was a lot. And it kind of got to the point where I had to question myself, like, is this something I'm gonna do for the rest of my life? Or like, when does this end? Pretty sure it was 9. I have pictures from most of them. As you can see here, I was in great shape every time I stepped on stage, but what you don't see from these pictures is those lows, those times in between when I was really struggling. And I didn't take a lot of pictures or videos then because frankly, I was embarrassed that I could fluctuate so extremely. And so I would hide from the camera when I was my off season, and then I would present to the camera when I was feeling good. So around this time in 2012, as you can see here, I was in sort of what I felt like was a low. And you can see I'm still smiling, I'm still like, you probably wouldn't know it, but internally I was struggling so much, just being tired of the on season, off season thing and just looking for a way out of this like yo-yo cycle. So I remember dreaming and thinking it was kind of a ridiculous dream. Like, what if there was a way I could stay in optimal shape like forever, for the rest of my life, like every single day without seasons? Would that even be real? Like, is that even possible? And at the world that I was in at the time, the, you know, bodybuilding competing world, the answer was no. Like, everyone just believed it was necessary to have on season, off season, and that staying super lean was actually like bad for you, that it would have detrimental effects on your hormones, that, you know, it just wasn't sustainable, that it required a lot of restriction, that you would always have to avoid yummy treats and all the fun things in life. And you know, that didn't sound appealing to me. I didn't want to always live like that. So, you know, I just continued to believe that it wasn't real, it wasn't possible, and you know, that's too bad. So then the next piece of this story, as a lot of you probably already know, is when I met Brad in 2013. At the time that I met him, I did not feel like I was in my best shape. And I remember we're doing this beach workout at Santa Monica Pier, and I felt honestly embarrassed to take my shirt off because I knew that it wasn't my best shape. Like, I knew that I could be in better shape than that, so I felt embarrassed about where I was at because I felt like he was the epitome of like amazing shape. And I don't know if you guys have heard this story, but I actually assumed he would be like a super strict, never have any fun, never drink beer, never eat treats kind of a person. And I was still intrigued by him because he seemed like he didn't have that kind of restriction on enjoyment in his life, but I was like skeptical because he was so lean and in amazing shape. I was like, well, he must, you know, never drink beer. And I was just sick of restricting myself at that point. And I was like, well, if he can't even have a beer with me, then I'm not interested in hanging out. But we went out to dinner on that first night after filming. And honestly, I tested him. I ordered a beer at dinner just to see what he would do. I like fully expected him to just have water and just a salad, but he didn't. He had a beer with me and we talked a lot. We just talked and talked and talked. It's like when you really meet someone that you vibe with, you know, the chemistry was just filling the room. So, I mean, this is another story in itself, but back to the fitness journey. I just wanted you to know that at the time that I met him, I was in kind of a low in my fitness journey, and I was still afraid. I was still very afraid that his idea of living lean just wasn't real. Either not a real thing or just like stricter than I wanted to live the rest of my life. And you know what's the weird thing about this is whenever we talk about this story and I mention that that time in my life was one of my lows, he doesn't even know that. Like, he's like, oh, I thought you were all good. Like, when he met me, he thought I was like already living lean, already killing it, already feeling great about myself, but I wasn't. I was honestly struggling internally, and no one knew that, not even Brad. So, you know, I think now he can recognize that in me because I'm at a different place now, but at the time he thought everything was fine. And, you know, like I mentioned, I felt like I was at a low, but I think other people looking at me would have thought, oh, you're lean, you're in shape, you're fine. What's the issue? Even though I was stalking all of Brad's YouTube videos, I watched like every single one before I came on this channel, and I was absorbing and learning everything I could about this philosophy or this idea of living lean, I still personally didn't feel confident with it. And I didn't feel like, you know, I was there yet. So I still competed, and Brad fully supported me. Like, that first year of us dating, I think I did 2 shows that year, and he came to my shows and he cheered me on and he had my back like the entire journey. And he knew when I was like dieting hard and when I was dialing it in, and he completely supported me. That show was such a huge flop for me. Like, it was terrible. I think I spent 3 or 4 months preparing for it, and then I didn't even place. Like, I wasn't even noticed by the judges. It was a huge wake-up call for me. I was like, what am I doing? I mean, that plus just the amount of fake tanner and hairspray and makeup, and it just felt so fake. And then being there with Brad, I think made me realize, like, I was like, I just need to be more like you. I don't need to compete like this. I need to live lean for myself. So that was when it kind of clicked for me that living lean could be real. I was seeing him do it, and so that started to make me realize that I could do it too. And I didn't need to go extreme cuts and then off-season bulks, and I could find that beautiful place of being sustainably lean. So these last 7 years, most recently from 2014 until now, that's what you've probably seen so much of, because I've been on camera, I've been on YouTube, I've been sharing my journey on Instagram and everywhere. So there's so much video footage and just documentation of my journey since then. So you've seen kind of what's happened to my body, my physique fluctuations. I've been pregnant twice during that time. You know, for the most part, I feel like I've really sustained and maintained a steadiness with my fitness now that I never had before, even with 2 pregnancies, which is so mind-blowing to me, because that was one of my biggest fears, you know, with pregnancy, was that it would again be difficult for me to find that balance, and that I would go either way off into the deep end or, you know, like mess myself up somehow, because everyone tells you all the horror stories about how pregnancy changes your body. But honestly, applying the principles of living lean has been amazing for 7 years straight now. So I just wanted to share this story with you, just in case you're in a place where you don't believe that living lean is real or possible or achievable, or that you have to be in the perfect life circumstances, or any of those fears that I had. I just wanted to share my highs and lows so that you know that they exist, because I know that when we're looking at other people's lives, we can think, oh, they always have it together, but no, I mean, we're all human. We all go through highs and lows, and even sometimes when it doesn't look like a low, sometimes it can feel like a low to the person going through it. Okay, so like I mentioned in the beginning, your nutrition is the #1 thing for you to work on. I mean, workouts are important too, and obviously we have a pretty unique training style when it comes to living lean. Like, we include compound exercises, we include strength training, we work on getting stronger, better, faster, more athletic, which is obviously helpful towards the goal of living lean. But the most important thing to control your weight and to avoid bulkiness and to make sure that you're actually, you know, fueling your muscles and your energy and you're supporting this goal vision is to get your eating right. And eating right doesn't necessarily mean less. For me, it was a matter of eating more. Before all of this, I would scour the grocery store for whatever had the lowest amount of calories and try to avoid carbs. And I was always denying myself and restricting myself. So eating right for me was a matter of including more of the right types of foods and actually fueling myself and letting go of all that restrictions. So if you're at a point where you're feeling completely lost with your nutrition and no idea how to even begin training yourself to eat right, please reach out, because I can help you with this. I've helped thousands of people with this. We have meal plans in every single one of our programs. We have ongoing weekly meal plans, new ones every week, in our Team Live Lean members group, which is the most affordable way. But I also do custom meal plans, so I can actually portion size everything out for you and show you exactly how I would do for myself, or how I've done for myself to get the results that you see on me today. So drop a comment down below. I'm actually curious, how long have you been following for? If you would take a second to let me know. I always find this so interesting. Like, at what point of this fitness journey did you come in and start watching? Have you been here since the beginning, since I first came onto LiveLeanTV, or are you newer than that? Let me know in the comments below. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we do new videos every week. Thanks for clicking on today's video. Just know that those little thumbs up, they help other people find the video. So, you know, that's a nice little gesture and so much appreciated if you could just click that button. So thank you. I'll see you at the next video, and keep living lean.